Coming up on Oregon News, hear how an Oregon baseball player is excelling despite personal tragedy. And we'll tell you how President Trump's proposed budget cuts will affect Oregonians. Welcome to Oregon News. I'm Kate Houston.
And I'm Gabby Arenda. We start with national news. Last night, President Trump's administration went to the Supreme Court to appeal the decision which overturned the president's Muslim ban. The ban would prohibit immigration from 6 predominantly Muslim countries. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals found it unconstitutional on the grounds that it unfairly targeted Muslims. With the appointment of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court features 5 conservatives alongside 4 liberals, but there is no guarantee that the judges will vote alongside party lines in this case.
Also on Thursday, President Trump announced that the U.S. will be pulling out of the Paris Climate Change Accords. The accords are designed to reduce greenhouse emissions. 195 countries signed the agreement in 2015, and reaction to the president's announcement has been mixed. This morning, 30 mayors, 4 governors, including Oregon's Kate Brown, and more than 100 business leaders announced they will continue to follow the agreement even without federal regulation. Trump's announcement was praised by EPA Chief Scott Pruitt, who describes it as a courageous decision to get out of a bad deal for America.
In other national news, President Trump's budget proposal includes a number of cuts to social welfare programs such as Medicaid. Chloe Spencer reports on how local communities will be affected if the budget passes.
President Trump's 2018 budget suggests cutting over $600 billion from Medicaid benefits. As the New York Times reports, this could come on top of over $800 billion cuts the House passed on May 4th. If passed, it could have a significant impact in Oregon. Oregon's Medicaid program, the Oregon Health Plan, or OHP, provides insurance to 1 in 4 Oregon residents. This primarily includes children, women, disabled people, and elderly. Nearly 42% of Oregonians under age 19 are insured by OHP. Oregon receives 76.5% of its Medicaid spending from the federal government. Dr. Rick Kincaid, the medical director of Community Health Centers of Lane County, wrote that Medicaid and Affordable Care Act coverage has improved immunization rates, developmental screening, and access to mental health and substance abuse services for kids. Additionally, although there are no proposed cuts in Medicare, Kincaid says that the loss of Medicaid and CHIP services for the expansion population could affect 600,000 or more individuals in Oregon. Although Kincaid feels that it is unlikely the president's budget will be approved as written, he still encourages Oregon residents to contact their legislators and interest groups about their concerns. Chloe Spencer, Oregon News.
Trump's healthcare budget also includes cuts for the National Institute of Health, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and Planned Parenthood. Eugene is wrestling with budget stuff as well. Some of the people who respond to emergencies say the city needs to spend more on ambulances. Mike Haven, the president of Lane Professional Firefighters, says there are not enough ambulances in Eugene that could put the community at risk. According to Eugene Springfield Fire Department officials, Eugene should add 3 more ambulances to improve response time and reduce paramedic workloads. City council members will make a decision by June 28th.
With summer around the corner, emergency responders will probably have their hands full. People will be spending more time around water, and that can mean trouble. Bailey Mulder has more on not only staying safe, but also keeping the waterway safe for others.
As the summer begins to heat up, snowpack from a heavy winter and a lot of spring rainfall are raising river levels. That means faster and deeper water. Officials are urging people to be safe, no matter where their excursions may take them. Lane County Search and Rescue Coordinator Tim Chase says it's even more important this season to be safe in the rivers due to high water levels.
We expect to see a lot of use of the rivers, and with increased use means there's going to be more people having problems that need help.
Lane County Sheriff's Office has been called on about a dozen water rescues so far this season, from capsized boats to injured cliff jumpers.
Always wear your life jacket. It's not good enough just to have it on board. You need to have it on your person.
3 other tips the Sheriff's Office has is knowing the area you're recreating in, being aware of your skill level, and giving a trip plan to a trusted individual in case you don't come home.
A life vest is not the only thing you're going to need when going out on the water this season. You're also going to need to bring one of these to pack out your trash.
Michelle Emmons of Willamette Riverkeeper says more cleanups happen in the spring and summer months when the river level is changing.
What's dangerous is that people They don't think about the repercussions of leaving their garbage. I mean, if you look around where I'm sitting right now, there's toilet paper that's deposited to the right of me here on this log I'm sitting on, and it's kind of gross.
Bailey Mulder, Oregon News.
Littering isn't the only plague affecting Oregon waterways. The drought from 2 years ago may still influence fishing on the Willamette. Spencer Guymont has more.
Oregon rivers like the Columbia, highlighted here in purple, and the Snake, highlighted here in yellow, have been experiencing lows in steelhead salmon this year. But these aren't the only rivers showing shortages of salmon. Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife fish biologist Jeff Ziller says rivers like the Willamette are still feeling the effects of the drought that occurred back in 2015.
We had the 2015 drought that ended up causing extremely low, very warm water in the springtime, very conducive to a lot of disease that the fish can pick up easily, and it also increases the potential for predation by both birds and other fish species on those smolts as they're heading out to the ocean.
This is the Willamette Falls fish count for the month of May. Ziller says that the count for both Chinook and steelhead are low for this upcoming season. These low counts have forced the ODFW to enlist stricter fishing rules to prevent from overfishing.
We've cut back the fishery to 3 days a week in the lower Willamette, below Willamette Falls.
Even though the low count may put a damper on the Willamette's salmon fishing for 2017, Ziller says there's signs of hope for seasons to come.
This year we've had plenty of water and it's looked really good. Nice cool water right through the spring. I'm hoping for some good ocean conditions to go along with that, and maybe we can have some decent fish returns in 2019.
For Oregon News, I'm Spencer Guymont.
Thanks, Spencer. Coming up, the state of Oregon is moving to protect transgender people, and a few ex-convicts are about to get a home. And Eugene is considering new ideas to make the downtown area safer for all of us. We'll be back in a moment.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
June is Pride Month, and it has started off with big news. Oregon Governor Kate Brown has signed a new bill that may give additional protection to transgender people. According to the AP, the new law eliminates a requirement for publicly posting changes to someone's name or gender identity. Oregon and California are the only two states that currently have laws specifically designed to help prevent discrimination against transgender people. The measure will take effect next year. If you are a former convict, it can be almost impossible to find an apartment to rent. The City of Eugene and a nonprofit group that helps ex-convicts are trying to do something about that. Mitch Reams reports.
The Oaks at West 14th is a joint project developed by the Housing and Community Services Agency, or HACSA, and the local nonprofit Sponsors Inc. It is focused on giving ex-convicts a permanent place to call home.
We'll have to ask ourselves, if we didn't have a home, how would we feel? How would we behave?
Jacob Fox is the executive director of HACSA and believes that permanent housing is crucial to re-enter into society.
Without the housing, over 50% of the people return to homelessness.
The Oaks is not a typical apartment complex. It features on-site parole officers, bi-weekly drug testing, and counseling centers. Everything is dedicated to keeping its residents on the right path. One of the people who helped put this together is Paul Solomon. Solomon has a criminal record himself and knows firsthand the difficulties faced by former convicts when searching for housing.
Yet if I were to rent an apartment anywhere in Eugene, I guarantee you I would have to answer the question, have you been convicted of a felony? Is that more relevant than my work experience, my good credit, my rental history?
The Oaks is the 7th housing project in Lane County founded by sponsors. The goal for these projects is to make them feel like real homes.
They all look similar to this in that they're beautiful facilities. They're well built, they're well maintained, they're colorful, and they're beautifully landscaped. And all of our programs and buildings are designed really to be a contradiction to what people experience in jail and prison.
Not everyone supported building this complex. When plans were first announced, many neighbors were skeptical. Through community meetings, those fears have been largely mitigated.
These are our people. These are our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, our community members who at some point in their lives have made mistakes. And I think that's also important for people to understand, that without this, they would be living on a park bench down the street somewhere where they're more likely to commit crimes.
In the future, Solomon hopes that homes like these here at the Oaks can be used as a model for ex-convict housing across the nation. For Oregon News, I'm Mitch Rames.
Sponsors is researching the effectiveness of these housing projects.
In other news, the man accused of killing 2 men on the train in Portland last Friday has been arraigned in court. 35-year-old Jeremy Joseph Christian has allegedly harassing 2 teenagers, both of them black and one of them wearing a hijab. 23-year-old Taliesin Nemkai Miche and 53-year-old Ricky John Best and a third man intervened. Nemkai and Best died after they were stabbed. Micah Fletcher also stabbed but survived. Christian has been arraigned on multiple charges, including 2 counts of aggravated murder and attempted murder. He will appear in court again on June 7th.
The City of Eugene is working on new strategies to make the downtown more appealing and safe for the community. Wendy Jones has more.
The City of Eugene is trying to make downtown more inviting for family and community members by hosting events like the one behind me.
The city is implementing a 3-pronged approach to make downtown more welcoming for everyone. The city worked with Project for Public Spaces, a nonprofit located in New York, and came up with the following: increasing safety and social services, programming and activation, and long-term structural changes to public spaces. Resource Development and Communications Manager for the City of Eugene, Sarah Kate Sharkey, has hopes the city will be more welcoming, safe, and exclusive for the Eugene community.
If downtown is not healthy, then Eugene as a whole suffers.
The Eugene Police Department has added 2 new police officers to patrol downtown, as well as hiring full-time city host Daniel Watson. Watson patrols the urban park on corner of 8th and Oak. Watson provides information to visitors, reminds them of the park rules, and reports any problems to the police.
So as long as they're following the park rules, everybody's welcome to come down here, and we want everybody to enjoy this space and just kind of boost the economy down here and let people enjoy it.
Sharkey wants to change the negative connotation that comes with downtown and has high hopes for the future. The efforts will continue with the City of Eugene hosting events throughout the summer in an effort to bring people downtown and activate these spaces. The overall goal is to make the centers more inviting and to bring people downtown even when there's not an event going on.
This should be a place where everybody can come and enjoy something.
For Oregon News, Wendy Jones.
Thanks, Wendy. Coming up in sports, the Ducks softball 15-game winning streak is over, but they still have hope. And we get candid with the one and only David Peterson. Jasmine Cookson will be right back with sports.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job!
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hello, I'm Jasmine Cookson, and welcome to Oregon Sports. In softball, the Ducks were defeated by the Washington Huskies 3-1 last night in the opening game of the Women's College World Series. Huskies pitcher Taryn Alvelo held Oregon to just 5 hits and 1 run, with Maddie Bishop scoring an RBI groundout in the bottom of the 7th. With its 15-game winning streak over, Oregon now faces an elimination final against the Baylor Bears on Saturday. And while the women's softball team is in the College World Series, one baseball player shares about his time off the field. Arman Araradian has the story of how one fastball pitcher has been dealt a few curveballs along the way.
Since he was small, David Peterson knew baseball was his future.
My mom, she always tells a story about, I was like 3 years old and I walked into her room with my glove on my hand and said, "Mom, I want to play in the big leagues." And she kind of turned to me and said, "Well, you better go out there and start practicing some more."
So since that conversation at age 3, The boy from Denver has worked to become a big leaguer. And now, after a stellar season, it seems like a jump to the majors is all but inevitable. The Oregon lefty has taken the nation by storm. Petey, as his teammates call him, finished 2017 with an 11-4 record to go along with a 2.51 ERA and a school record 140 strikeouts. Peterson has earned first-team All-American honors and has been named to first-team All-Pac-12, along with being a semifinalist for multiple individual awards. Punch-out after punch-out, Peterson has solidified himself as one of the most dominant pitching prospects coming out of college. But Peterson's story isn't just about how he achieved his childhood dreams. In November 2004, when Peterson was just 9 years old, his life came crashing down. His father, Doug, a trainer for the Triple Crown champion Seattle Slew, suddenly died after an accidental drug overdose.
Just kind of broke down. I was sitting there, I remember my mom was on the phone. We were sitting in a baggage claim at LAX waiting for my grandparents to come, and I just remember her kind of being on a phone, and I knew it wasn't a good phone call. I didn't know what it was about or who she was talking to, and then when she got off the phone, she kind of told me the news, and it was just kind of like I felt everything just kind of crash. It just, all the emotions came right away, and it just felt like everything was falling apart.
But only hours after learning of his father's death, Peterson took to the mound that night.
My parents and grandparents were kind of like, no, you don't have to go, this and that, and went to my room, put my jersey on, and went right to the car, and so they kind of knew I wanted to go play baseball, and went out and threw a no-hitter.
He says his father was right by his side. Over the next 5 years, Peterson continued to frustrate opposing teams. When he began high school ball, Peterson's focus was on the draft. He had two options: get drafted to the MLB out of high school, or get a college scholarship and leave after college. After a Colorado State championship his freshman year, followed by dominant sophomore and junior years, being drafted out of high school seemed realistic to Peterson. Then, another setback. In his senior year, while playing pickup basketball with friends, Peterson landed wrong on one foot.
I thought maybe I dislocated my ankle or something like that, and then I got to the hospital, and they took some x-rays, and they told me that I had broken my leg in 2 places, and that's kind of when everything was like, okay, what just happened? How's this going to affect me?
Being drafted out of high school was no longer a sure bet. Peterson was picked, but in the 28th round of the 2014 MLB draft by the Boston Red Sox. To Peterson, the financial reward of being drafted that low wasn't enough to persuade him to turn pro. Instead, the University of Oregon came into play.
I wouldn't say it was a fallback option, but I definitely wasn't 100% committed on going to school.
His first 2 years as a Duck, Peterson struggled with his command, and head coach George Horton sometimes could not trust Petey going more than 4 or 5 innings. Now, despite struggles on the mound in college and hardships growing up, Peterson has molded himself into a projected first-round draft pick.
It'd be a dream come true. There's obviously there's so much honor with being selected in the first round and being at the top of the draft, and just gonna kind of let the cards fall where they may and see what happens.
Whatever happens, Peterson says he knows his family is his real strength.
If there's another setback or whatever it is, I'm definitely going to lean on them and do like I've done in the past and just fight it head on and kind of get through it.
Armin Aradian, Oregon News.
Peterson will find out if his childhood dream will come true in 10 days at the 2017 MLB Draft. And starting this Wednesday, Hayward Field will host the NCAA Championships. As teams from all over the nation compete for the national title, the nerves on the big stage can be daunting. Oregon distance runner Samantha Nadeau and Oregon head coach Robert Johnson talked about how a strong veteran presence is key to adjusting to the bright lights. Nadell spoke on the impact middle distance runner Ali Cash and fellow distance runner Maggie Schmieder have on the team.
I think a lot of people look up to them and see them as an example and someone to aspire to be. I know I do, even though I'm their age. I think they just set a really good example for everyone.
I think we are in a unique situation and a special situation, one that we cherish, of having athletes to been there, did there, done that, and to have that type of experience on our team is definitely rewarding.
Events start Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. and last through Saturday. So Bailey, can we expect the clear skies to last this weekend or not?
Well, Jasmine, the first weekend of June isn't going to treat us as well as some may hope here in the Willamette Valley. Today in Eugene, we will see the most sun with a high of 76 degrees. The rest of the weekend will be cloudy with highs in the 60s and lows around the 40s. Our neighbors to the east are in for a wild few days. Bend will be warm throughout the weekend. It may be the perfect place to find a hike today, but tomorrow will bring rainstorms and rain on Sunday. So get outside while you can. If you're hoping to escape to get some vitamin C this weekend, Florence has highs hanging around 60 degrees throughout the weekend with partly cloudy skies. It might be the perfect time to break out those kites. And heading up the I-5 corridor to Portland, highs in the 70s today with lows in the 50s. The rest of the weekend will see highs in the 60s with lows in the 40s. It'd be a great Saturday to visit the Portland Saturday Market and explore the riverfront. And finally, going down under to our friends in Perth, Australia, shout out to Jasmine's family and friends. Expect highs in the 70s over the next couple of days with lows in the 50s. And this is their winter. We hope you enjoy Western Australia Day on Monday. That's all I have for weather. Enjoy your first weekend of June, everyone. Summer is almost here for us Oregonians. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Bailey. Coming up, we'll introduce you to a remarkable young man who is refusing to give in to a fatal disease.
And we'll take a look at new ways to appreciate crickets. Think crispy, crunchy, and tasty.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back. A local Eugene business is using unconventional farming methods to raise an ancient sustainable food source. Paige Harkless reports.
These little bugs aren't for reptiles. They're for eating. Here at Craft Crickets, they're looking to change the way us humans consume our protein.
An estimated 2 billion people around the world consume bugs as a part of their diet. But in the US, the concept is foreign. Chief cricket farmer at Craft Crickets, Justin Miller, wants to change that. He started his business with the environment in mind. Compared to livestock, crickets take just a fraction of water and space compared to their popular protein oppositions.
We're literally in a warehouse behind a Burger King, and we're growing some of the most sustainable protein in all the Pacific Northwest.
Miller raises around 1 million of the noisy critters in his small warehouse and roasts batches of 20 to 30,000 of them every Thursday to sell for public consumption. And while crickets may not be as appealing as avocados or acai juice, Miller does call them a superfood. High in protein, just 2 ounces of crickets have the equivalent of about 6 eggs. The benefits don't stop there. The little bugs have twice as much iron as spinach and contain all essential aminos. Aside from studying the nutritional values, Miller pays close attention to the best ways to yield the highest quantity of quality crickets. Sustainable business instructor Joshua Scove feels his work is onto something.
I find it really inspiring because he's really analytical and gathers a lot of data, and I think what he's learning is going to be valuable to a lot of other people who want to try to do the same thing.
And while it may be hard to get the general public on board, Craft Crickets advocates for the concept by offering a free class every month to teach others how to efficiently grow their own orchestra. The classes also teach recipes for incorporating the little guys into common dishes. But Miller says his favorite way to enjoy the critters is fairly simple.
Do a light fry with a little bit of butter, and then throw some paprika and maybe some garlic salt. And that's just fantastic. And it's just a snack that complements pretty much any beer.
For Oregon News, I'm Paige Harkless.
If you're interested in trying some of these gourmet bugs, Craft Crickets will be at the Saturday Market this weekend.
UO student Osiel Mendoza is challenging supporters to help in his fight to combat ALS. ALS is an incurable disease that causes muscle deterioration. 21-year-old Osiel Mendoza was diagnosed with ALS in October last year. Now, Mendoza is using social media to help kick off his own ALS challenge called Yoke Up for ALS.
First part is taking an egg and a glass cup, crack the egg, put it in the cup, and drink it. Alright.
Mendoza has also set up an online page with all funds going to the ALS Therapy Institute to fund more research. According to the ALS Institute, every 90 minutes someone is diagnosed with ALS, and most people only live for another 2 to 5 years after being diagnosed. Osiel's fiancée, Bella Gonzalez, says because ALS is a rare but deadly disease, finding treatment is crucial.
As Osiel mentioned in the video, it is not an incurable disease, but it's very underfunded. So we want to encourage people to be aware of this disease and donate so that we can further our research to help find a cure.
For the meantime, expect to see Yoke Up for ALS on your news feeds. In other news, the University of Oregon allows service dogs to assist students on campus and in the classroom. One service dog owner is doing her part to make these helpful animals more affordable for those who need them. The saying goes, dogs are a man's best friend, and graduating senior Leah Lawrence is no stranger to this fact. Over the past 2 years, Golden Retriever Cooper has stood, walked, and laid by her side as her service dog. During the winter of 2014, Lawrence was assaulted while attending El Camino College. The trauma of the attack caused Lawrence to develop psychogenic, non-epileptic seizures.
I was scared of the world, and I didn't want to step foot outside. My parents were really worried about me, and they were thinking about taking me back home and things like that.
Fed up with secluding herself, Lawrence bought Cooper, and everything changed.
He has helped me become the person that I was before. So I was hardly able to, go outside. But now I'm, the happy, outgoing kind of person.
Cooper is able to notify Lawrence 5 to 7 minutes before she will have a seizure, keeping her upright so she does not fall, and even knows sign language. Lawrence was able to afford service dog training for Cooper, which can cost upwards of $10,000. But she knows this is not the case for everyone. This inspired her to create a fundraiser that helps financially support those in need of a service animal. It's called Dogs with a Job.
We want to share how they help us, how they're beneficial to us, what they can do in the community, how they've helped other people.
Right now, Lawrence is 2 months seizure-free, and Cooper will walk across the graduation stage with full honors for his service. Kate Houston, Oregon News. If you're interested in supporting Dogs with a Job, the fundraiser is tomorrow from 12 to 4 at the UO Memorial Quad. Thanks for joining us on Oregon News. I'm Kate Houston.
And I'm Gabby Arenda. Have a great weekend. We're just gonna